do that. And
the value add is just geometric. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Okay. And it's a process. And so the next one is next month. And then the next one is 2 months after that, right? So if you think about it over a 3-year cycle, 2.5, 3-year cycle, we would have 6 of these hackathons with 180 of our top engineering teams, with the top development teams who are developing this code. We get early releases of stuff from some of these players, and our people are like, wow, here's what it is. Okay, and then from that, you can now say, okay, now take this Scrum team and go deliver them to these 5 other companies. Here's how you do that. And then we have our CEOs all get together and our CXOs all to get together and share and exchange and talk and have Slack channels and all the sorts of things that enable them to think about how do they advance each one of the little aspects of what makes their business run and can be more successful. That's how we do it.
Well, I mean, you refer to it as constant, never-ending improvements. So, what's I've got to ask for the audience because they're going to be wondering. You said hackathon. Normally, hackathon means you're trying to break into stuff. In this situation, you're talking about building stuff. It's not really hacking.
No, it's hacking.
System.
It's just we're hacking, just tapping on it. Hacking it out.
I want to clarify something. So you said something earlier that a lot of people get panicked about, and I think it's. I remember I sat down with President Obama, and I was asking him 10 years ago or 8 years ago. I said, you look at the productivity that's happening already, and then we're just talking about, let's say, things like self-driving cars, things of that nature. That'll no one's going to hire a truck driver to drive a truck when I can have a self-driving truck that works 24 hours a day versus 8 hours a day. I don't have the healthcare issues. I don't have complaints, right? I have probably less insurance, and I get to write down the asset, right? So all those Uber drivers, taxi drivers, that's 5 million jobs in the United States. That's how many jobs we lost in 2008 that made the economy go crazy. So all this productivity, we've seen going from, let's say, farmers 150 years ago, where 80% of the population was farmers, to now it's 3%. We take care of the world because of productivity. That change was slow. This change is fast. And I asked Obama, I said, is anybody getting these people ready for their new jobs, their new direction? He said, well, we don't think it's going to happen that fast. And I said, my experience, if you study history, is like it goes, and then boom, this is it, right? We're geometric. It's not like anything in the past that you prepared for. So I know this isn't your job, but I'm curious, 2 questions. There's going to be so many jobs disrupted by that. But what does a person in that position do so that they can use AI and become more valuable in their company? Do you still see, is there a stage in which you don't need human beings to that at all, that the AI is designing it all? I assume there is.
I think that it will be an evolutionary process, to your point.
Will it be evolution or revolutionary?
No, I think it's going to be evolution. It's just going to, the speed of change is going to be
That's what I mean
more
by
rapid. No, I agree.
Speed.
No, I agree, right? So, look.
And that's not your responsibility. I'm saying, what do you think is real so they hear it? Because you know more about this industry than anybody probably alive. I'm not blowing smoke your way. It's true. What would somebody in that position do? And then what do owners think about in that area?
So there's layers. Okay, the first layer, let's start here. There are 1 billion knowledge workers out there, which developers are. Now, had we sat 4 years ago, and we sat in these tables, you said, Robert, what's your biggest problem? I said, my biggest problem is we have 5 million open recs in software development jobs around the world. That many, not us, the world. Okay, we were always running a deficit, 5, 8, 10,000. And we're constantly trying to find developers, constantly trying to. Well, guess what? The tide has shifted. So anyone, I apologize to anyone I said send their kid to become a computer science.
Well, that was my next question in a second. So we'll come back to